Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk about the concept of failing, right? And the title of this video is You Are Supposed to Fail. So I want to read an excerpt out of this book. This is called You to the Second Power by Price Pritchett. I got this at a half price book, literally for like $2. I think it costs like 20 something online. But I was just reading this, like my mind was going. I was just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? I lost my job, lost my car. I barely was able to pay my rent this month, barely able to make it by, still have like dozens of other things that I need to do and that I need to pay for. And so I just like started going through my books. I brought out this book, turned to this page, Seek Failure. So I just want to read a little excerpt from it before I talk about it. So here we go. It says, you deliberately destabilize yourself when you break out of the habit. Sorry, y'all. I'm not going to stutter, I promise. You deliberately destabilize yourself when you break out of the habit patterns that represent the status quo. You create some inner chaos for yourself. So be prepared for the possibility of confusion, anxiety, and failure. That's part of opening yourself up to a new methodology that has the potential to deliver exponential performance gains. And by the way, this is all about like quantum leaping, becoming your best self, and breaking through self-imposed limitations and barriers, right? So keep that in mind. Then he continues, so often in life, it seems that things first get worse on the way toward getting better. Be prepared for that sort of deployment. Problems belong in the process. They are a part of the equation that produces you to the second power. They are not proof that your ambitions are futile or that you should give up. As someone has said, everything looks like a failure in the middle. You can't bake a cake without getting the kitchen messy. Halfway through surgery, it looks like there's been a murder on the operating table. If you send a rocket toward the moon, about 90% of the time, it's off course. It fails its way to the moon by continually making mistakes and correcting them. Why I oughta? Isn't that crazy? Like, we are so, I'll speak for myself. I have such an aversion, I feel like, to failure because, you know, in school and stuff, you want to get the best grade. You don't want to mess up. When you mess up, it's frustrating. And depending on your environment and those around you and how they reacted to your mistakes, it's like you're building up a whole identity from a very young age surrounding failure, mistakes, making the wrong choices, making the wrong decisions. And I feel like that carries out through your adulthood, of course. And so when he puts it into these different, I guess, concepts, and when he talks about it in a way of like, okay, a rocket ship, when you really think about it, you're like, wow, that is true. Like, they don't just put rocket ships to the sky. And whether you believe in like space and all that or not, whatever, just focus on the metaphor. But when they send rockets to wherever it's going to outer space, they don't just put it on one course and say, all right, guys, good luck. Like, we're going to put it on this route and there's a 0.0001% chance that it will make it, but hopefully it does. No, they'll put it on the route. Things will happen. Stuff will be off. Nothing will be perfect, but then they just self-correct until they get to their destination. So by definition, you have to fail in order to succeed. Like, failure is literally part of success. And I think I go into like, I don't know, different frequencies of being able to like conceptualize this and understand this in my life, depending on how big the failure is, right? So let's say that I was supposed to, I don't know, pick something up at the mall. I wanted to buy a certain shirt. And when I got there, it was sold out because I got there too late. That's considered a failure and I might be disappointed in myself, but I'm not gonna blow up my whole life and think of myself as, you know, like some degenerate just because I missed out on something that I wanted because I wasn't prepared or I got there too late, right? But when it comes to certain things like finances or certain opportunities or taking certain chances, I'm very, very hard on myself. And I'm just like, I'm trying to wrap my head around even now in this, I guess, situation that I've put myself in because there's no one to blame but myself. And I'm just like, man, I feel like a failure. I feel like I'm barely getting by. Everything feels messy. Nothing is sure. I feel like I'm freaking out and I'm looking around like, how did I get here? And then that's when I opened it up to this page in the book. And this is, I feel like, the time where you cannot lose faith. Like when you're in the midst of failure, when you're looking around and everything is falling apart, nothing is going to plan, nothing is going how you thought it should be, this is when you should have the most faith. And that's what I've been telling myself. That's what I've been reiterating to myself just over the past few days with, like I said, losing my job and losing all these certain things, because there is still hope. And luckily I had the foresight to, you know, build my business and to do certain things and to move into a new space to where I'm comfortable in a sense and to where I have things working for me, but still it's a large load to carry. And I feel like it's a lot of mental back and forth when you're in these spaces. You're thinking like, man, I should have done better. I should have done this. I should have done that. And then you're thinking about the past, and all of that is pointless, right? And I'm starting to realize that too. And I hear it all the time when people speak on, successful people. A lot of them say, don't worry, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. Or Trisha Paytas, if you follow her, her journey was pretty much online, where she was having mental breakdowns in and out of different mental hospitals and suicidal ideation and all these different things. She went from that to now, fast forward like 6 years later, she's happily married with children, living her best life, and she genuinely seems happy. And I think that one of the things that she said was, in one of her videos that I watched to get inspiration, she was like, if I could go back and tell myself one thing from like the worst period of my life back in 2020, I would tell myself, don't worry, like you're going to be fine, you're going to be okay. And a lot of people say that. A lot of people who are successful, who do great things, they literally say, and when they're trying to help people, they say, don't worry, like you are going to be okay, you're going to be fine. It's going to feel like you're failing, that you're not doing the right thing, but you're literally on the right path, right? The path that you're on is meant for you and only you. And so that is just something that I try to remember for myself as I'm going through these times. Because like I said, it's a lot to take on. When you go from having a, stable job and from knowing what you're going to do every single day, Monday through Friday, and then you all of a sudden turn to not knowing where, your money is going to come from, or where the next client is going to come from, or what you're going to do in the future. It's a hard adjustment. It's a complete 180. But I'm just kind of having faith that everything is going to be okay, and just trying to understand like the mental work and the mental positivity that I need to have and maintain in order to live the life that I want to live. Because I've also been going back and watching my videos too about certain things, and I literally preach all these things, and I was preaching them from an ivory tower, so to speak, if that makes sense. Like when I was talking about, what I was going through, or when I was talking about like overcoming certain obstacles, I was very comfortable. I was living with family. I was making, I was only paying a certain amount of rent, and I was making a certain amount of money to where I had a lot left over, and I could chill and I could relax and I was cool. So it's easy to talk about things, and it's easy to say, look on the other side, look on the bright side, and it's okay, don't worry, don't stress when you're in a position of comfort. But as soon as you step out of that comfort zone, which is what is needed to succeed, your mind is suddenly gonna like just force all these negative things and negative thoughts, and it's trying to protect you. And I feel like I've been trying to protect myself from success because I've been trying to protect myself from failure, right? And I think a lot of us can relate to that. So I just wanted to come on here and talk about that, because it's very common. You see a lot of younger people, or people my age or even older, just kind of look around and start to realize that they're not happy with their lives. And as we start to make change, like in the physical world, and as we start to change our behaviors and our habits, sometimes our mental takes a little bit longer to catch up. And that little in-between part, like I said, is so crucial, because that's the part where you either do or you don't, right? That's the part where you either get scared and you allow your mind to pull you back into your perceived safe zone and your comfort zone, or that's where you push forward and you try something new and you get a new experience and new results, which is what you're actually looking for. So again, this book, You to the Second Power, the page is Seek Failure. I highly recommend this book. I've been like randomly flipping through it throughout the day. Like genuinely, yesterday I was like about to have a panic attack, and I was just like, no, like breathe. I did my breathing exercises. I flipped through this book, and this is the page that I flipped through today, which was focus on ends and rather than the means. So focus on where you're trying to go, and focus on the end result and the goal, as opposed to focusing on the who, the what, the how. Well, how am I going to get the money, and how's it going to happen, and who's going to help me, and all this other stuff. Like we don't need to worry ourselves like that. And we're conditioned to do that, right? To be stuck in these cycles. And I'm ready to get out of it. I'm just like, you know what? I can always go back. And I have a video titled on here too, like, you can always go back. And I literally talk about how I can always go back to having a job. I can always go back to another place, or doing this or doing that, or, I can always go back to what I've known, but I want to step out of the unknown. Like I don't want to die, and I don't want to live any more of my life without knowing what I'm capable of or what's possible. And so I really want to tap into that. And it's been hard, like I said, but it's possible. So I'm just keeping my mind positive and keeping everything like you know, when I can. I allow myself to feel when I need to feel. I allow myself to feel the fear and feel the anger, the frustration, and the regret of things that I did in the past, people that I've hurt, things that I shouldn't have done, money I shouldn't have spent. But I don't let myself dwell there as long as I normally would, which I'm very, very proud of. I then move toward, okay, let's focus on the positive. Let's get the website up and running. Let's reach out to people. Let's be open to new experiences. You know, let's do something new. Let's do something different. So, you know, I'm gonna fail along the way, and that's okay. And I'm failing out in the open too. I'm gonna start talking more about like what I'm going through right now in these moments because I feel like it helps a lot of people. And that's what I want to do. Like that's my goal, is to just be open and honest and vulnerable and experience new things and help people feel seen and heard and understood. Like that is my number one goal. I've come to that conclusion. So thank you guys for watching. I know that was a mouthful, of course, but it's just how I'm feeling. And if you're going through this, if you're scared of failure, check out this book. If not, check out different videos online on YouTube for free, and just work through it, right? There's also another book too that I'm reading called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I forget who it's by, but that's another book that I was recommended that I've had for a while that I've been revisiting, and it's been helping as well. So definitely, you guys, let me know in the comments, of course, if you're feeling the same way, if you're going through the same things. Make sure that you like, you comment, you subscribe. Okay, I don't know why I'm like stuttering now, sorry, but make sure that you like, you comment, you subscribe. It really helps me out as a small channel. I would really appreciate it if you could just engage, you know, with the video. It really does help. And yeah, I'll see you guys at the next video, okay? So you got this, we got this. We're gonna feel the fear, but it's okay because failure is a part of success, all right? So I'll talk to you guys at the next video. Bye.